Hello. Today we're going to talk about inventory systems in games. Oh, fun! Yeah, I know. So exciting, right? Kind of not. They are boring, but I think they can be fun. Um, I think inventory systems are in nearly every game you play now. So in a way, why not make it a little bit fun? And if you're not trying to make it fun, I don't want anything at all with it. I don't need it to be crazy. I think for me, the problem that I want to talk about is when a game developer half bakes it, like slapping on an encumbrance system. I'm looking at you, Skyrim. I feel like games that make it a sort of focal point, like Dredge. Oh, beautiful. That's what I like to see, because I don't like menus and UI usually. I don't really care. But Dredge, I just got like addicted to it. It was just like crack, just like slotting bits of tuna and squid together to try and make a nice little Tetris inventory. Because it was a main sort of element of the game. You got to go out and fish, avoid the Cthulhian horrors, stack your inventory up as much as you can to sell it. The better you are at sort of fixing everything together and just shoving more sardines in, the more money you make, the quicker you can progress. So it felt like there's a reason for it. And you've also got a sort of sacrifice between, do you want more inventory, but less sort of speed on your engine, less ways to catch more fish, or do you want less inventory but maybe like a bigger light or a bigger engine? It felt like there was sort of sacrifice and reason for it. And I mean, like, we've seen it before. I've definitely seen it in games I played when I was a kid. But I remember not liking the system. I remember seeing it the first time when I was a little babushki, and I was playing Champions Return to Arms, a game that I've always wanted to play again. But just every time I tried to play it on my PlayStation 2, it would just freeze. It had that same sort of system where if you pick up a battle axe, it's like got blocks and it's the size of a battle. The blocks are in the shape of a battle axe, and you've got to sort of work around with your inventory and stuff. But it didn't feel fun with that, because all of the things I was picking up, I sort of was like, oh, I don't really want to equip this, I'll just like drop it. Or it was more like I would just pack my inventory full and then have to just swap out things that were more expensive. And I'm like, I don't want to be looking up like spreadsheets of which item is better to sell and stuff. Like Dredge, it was just, you pack the inventory, you go and you offload it, and that was the gameplay loop. Champions Return to Arms, I'm like blowing dragons up. Why do I have to be like my own squire, wiping my body with 400 battle axes just to see if I can sell them for more? I don't know, it just didn't really work for me. I think a system like that can work if you make it like a looter, shooter, whatever, like Borderlands or Diablo. It works. The system is built around you getting better weapons and swapping things out, and there's sort of shortcuts and buttons for it. I think this inventory system works so well in horror, like Resident Evil 2. I mean, it literally made it, right? Dredge wouldn't probably be a thing if Resident Evil didn't do it first, and popularize it. Because horror works because it's the whole thing of you're sacrificing inventory space for things you need, and you've got to make decisions. Whereas Champions Return to Arms, I have 400 swords. There's no sacrifice here. There's no thought. I'm not, doing any sort of, do I take the bazooka? I'm like, fuck's sake, another shitty little shield. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it works. So I think that's the sort of idea of like Dredge, for example, making it the forefront. That inventory system is the forefront of the game. They've put time into it. The game loop is made by this inventory system. It wouldn't be the same if it didn't exist. But then I think you've got the other end of the spectrum of games that don't try. They give you an inventory, but it is very minimal and you don't even think about it, which is where I get to talk about Risen, my favourite game. It is not good. I don't recommend many people play it. It took me like four tries to get into it. It's just like a 7 out of 10 mess. I think it's amazing. If you have the patience, go for it, but you know, I can understand if not. So in Risen you play as the classic generic 2000s bald action hero of the time, and you wash up on this island called Faranga. And it's sort of like a fantasy action adventure. So in Risen, you have no carry weight. You have an infinite inventory. So anything you see that isn't nailed down, that's a Risen reference for my Risen heads, you can take, which is so great because I don't think I even thought about the inventory until making this video. It made it so fun to just go around everyone's houses and just rob them. Just completely rob these poor people. Because why not? If I can take everything, I'm gonna take everything. And then it led me to find the systems like cooking and alchemy. Because in Skyrim, I would never do that shit. In a million years, I wouldn't do like alchemy or... Is it cooking? I feel like there is, I don't know. But I wouldn't do it because why would I stack up my inventory full of like Nirnroot and, you know, alchemical elixirs when I don't need to, and it takes up weight. Like my dragon armor is already half my fucking carry weight. So I think if a developer doesn't really care and just sort of is like, I'm gonna make this as, you're not gonna think about this, great, amazing. And I think that's what works. If you don't care and you try and keep it as minimal as possible, or if you do care, like Dredge, and you make it the main aspect of the game. The problem is when you get that middle ground of Skyrim, you know, of here's an inventory and if you get everything as carry weight. What? Why? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense in a game where it feels like you're supposed to explore the open world and take all the things you can find. And to be like, yeah, you can't take them all day. It's like, well, I don't really want to take anything then because I'm worried it's going to fill up my slots. I sort of had the same problem with Baldur's Gate a little bit, not as much, because obviously you can split the carry weight between everyone. But for me, it didn't really feel exciting. I wasn't sort of like, oh yeah, what shall I sacrifice? What shall I? Because a lot of the time as well, I didn't really know what things did. Like sometimes I might have picked something up which I thought maybe that's important, I should probably keep that, or you know, the classic having like 1 billion consumables by the end of it just in case, which you never need. But yeah, I don't know, I don't really think these systems work when you half bake them. So now I think it's time to sort of talk about Zelda a little bit. I feel like everyone sort of knows in Breath of the Wild the adventure system was again, it's that weird sort of mix of like, it's not a main part of the game, but you've got to keep using it, and the cooking is quite integral, but you can't cook like loads of dishes at once and stuff. And I think Tears of the Kingdom kind of disappointed me too, because I sort of felt the same. I think it was better, but I still feel like I spent half of the fights scrolling through menus to attach things to weapons that break in 2 seconds. And I didn't really feel like that was a good system. Maybe like a weapon wheel would have been a bit nicer with, you know, like all the things you can favorite and stuff. It just sort of reminded me a bit of like Monster Hunter, where I'm running from like a giant ancient dinosaur. And I'm like scrolling through all my things to try and get my potions, and instead I like throw a bit of poo at the boss. So basically, in summary, I think that inventory systems are boring, so let's keep it that way, or really try and make it fun. But I don't think there's any point if you're going to half bake it. I think if you don't have a fun idea, keep it to yourself. I don't want more encumbrance systems. I think usually they're terrible. And if you are going to do something like encumbrance, why not add a fun little twist? Like if you can Tetris all your items together in your backpack in like a nice stacked way, maybe you get like a 50% weight loss sort of bonus, the Ozempic bonus. Your character doesn't, all the items aren't as heavy to carry. I just think there's ways around it, and there needs to be sacrifice. Like, if you're going to give me a negative aspect to my inventory, give me a sacrifice. Give me I'll give you this, but I get this. Don't just give me like, oh, if you have 400 cabbages, you're fucked. Because I don't know. I just think, if I want to carry 400 cabbages, why can't I? In Risen, I remember I was fiending for eggs. I wanted eggs. Because eggs, you could cook, I think it was like fried eggs. You could cook these fried eggs and increase your strength. So anytime I saw an egg, I was like, oh, eggs, finally. And I ended up having like 30 eggs at one point. And would I have done that in Skyrim? If there was like a bonus to get eggs, would I have ever found that? Probably not. It took me 5 Risen playthroughs to figure out that eating eggs, and I think apples too, I think every time that was it, every time you eat 10 raw eggs, your character gets like +3 strength. When in any other game would I be like, yes, if I have to sacrifice my weight limit for this, I'm just going to pick up eggs. But I got to do that in Risen. I got to experiment. So yeah, I think that's my point, really. If you're going to give me a system, make it fun, or don't make it at all. But yeah, this is my first time doing a video. I have quite a sore throat as well, which is brilliant. Good way to start. So I'm going to try and get better at this. This might be a bit of a stinker. I've just sort of been going on a rant about eggs and shit. So hopefully I can hone the craft. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. Tell me what you think I could improve. If you have any ideas about inventories, amazing. Let me know. I'd love to hear them. But yeah, thanks for your time, and have a great day.